Okay, Twitch appears to be live. But we are currently a player down. So we won't be starting immediately. We'll give him 5 minutes and we'll see how we do. So this is going to be a whole heap of nothing for people who are watching now.
He did say he was going to be a bit late.
He did.
We're going to get political to fill in the 5
Well, the thing
minutes.
is that you can. The initial science investigation is not really going to be any concern with starting without a speak of the devil. He shall appear.
We said his name 3 times and...
Science.
We summon him from his mountain hold.
I thought I'd pull a Navis. Yeah.
The never please problem.
Have you been annoying the pigmen again, or whatever it is they're called now, piglins?
Piglins.
Yeah.
Well then, if that's the case, we've got everybody here that we expect to be here, so let's go ahead and play that intro.
Woo.
Oh no, but I'm not on Twitch. I can't watch it.
Well, stop twitching then and get on Twitch.
Oh, there's one person watching.
Yeah, I think you'll find it's you. And there we have it. Well, yes, as has been pointed out, the credits are still a little bit wrong. Because Lieutenant Thazanan has yet to accept the promotion.
Well, I tried to make in a version that was adjusted with his true rank, which is sort of like, you know, Lieutenant Commander, Captain, Admiral, God. But apparently he's not accepted that rank either.
Lord High Admiral.
No.
The Emperor doesn't approve.
I think you mean I shouldn't. I'm the one who writes credits. Technically, I can.
Talk about retconning. It's the man that actually does the credits that gets the final cut.
Yeah, well, blimey, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yep.
Real life and other stuff has got in the way. So yeah, how is everyone? Well, let's start with the most obvious. The Queen died.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, that's really great way to start the stream. But yeah, the Queen's dead. Woo!
So we're going to have to find another player to play her character then.
Her Majesty the Queen will now be played by the role of Helen Mirren.
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna miss her expert character role players, Ensign Jenny Eric.
Yes, thank you for filling in that role, Your Madge. You'd be greatly missed.
Oh, please get a voice clipping of sort of like the Queen, so at one point you can just have Ensign Jenny Eric just be like, one does not approve. It's like the only line she ever speaks.
No, you need to get a clip of Charles trying to get away with using that line. I just pretend it's not it.
Indeed, we are not amused by the antics of the Romulans.
It's one. It should be one, is not.
Only when we get the binars in.
Yeah, in all seriousness, you know, sad that she's gone, but wasn't for the monarchy, wasn't against them either, so...
It is a monumental event in history. In modern history, shall we say.
It's the end of an era.
Yes, it is the end of an era. Although it's the next chapter in the Windsor era, so... See what happens.
So how long it takes him to advocate.
Nah.
Abdicate.
Abdicate.
He
Yeah, I just
won't
realised that
abdicate.
abdicate, not advocate.
He's waited 70
Advocate.
years.
He's waited 70 years for the job.
Not
Yeah.
going
He's
to
gonna want at
abdicate.
least
You
5
have to
on it.
sign some forms to abdicate, and as we've seen, he's not good at that.
Ooh.
Yes.
It's not enough
It was the
of a
pen's
struggle.
fault.
Hey, I spent all
Yeah,
of Monday
it was-
being told about assassination attempts by the Welsh against the monarchy.
I'm sorry, I'm just saying, at some point when it's every pen he apparently handles, he has to accept that he's the common denominator, not the pen.
Shall we move on before we start?
Well,
before
maybe
this
that's a
gets
good
tried to
idea.
Sort of like
Yeah.
regicide. Yeah, we all just suddenly disappear when the secret police turn up at our doors.
Now
Yeah.
we've started
They're
the
not-
political
It's
incident.
just a normal place.
Well, no, you know what? I think I'm going to double down on the divisive statements. I believe Taliban was right.
To be honest, it's going to take him a while to do anything. He can only move one space now, he's the king.
Yeah, he wasn't even on the chessboard before.
See, this is what happens when you coop us up for 3 weeks without an outlet.
Yeah.
Call the bishop! He can't get to us, he's only moving diagonally.
Call the midwife. Oh crap, that's probably my character.
I'd like to point out that we are actually. Hang on, I can do this out.
Starfleet officers? Yes.
Everyone,
Well trained.
everyone bar Caval is on the same coloured square. If it's a chessboard, Caval's on the enemy team.
Well, to be
So
fair,
early?
he's so hyper competent. We need to stand up against him to have a chance.
He could be. Or he could just be a rook. That's why he's on that colour.
A crook, yeah. We got it wrong.
Are we saying that Caval's flying skills are less than genuine?
What are you saying? He's actually
No,
killed.
we're saying it's actually a holographic replacement, and he's actually gone to find his latest mistress on the station. He hasn't reported back yet.
Well,
It's an inflatable autopilot.
if he is bad, if he is bad at flying, then he's killed us several times and we haven't noticed it, haven't we? So, and even for Star Trek, that's a little out there.
He's installed Flightbot.
I'm back on the station flying everything remotely.
That's why there's a lag when we ask Caval to do something.
I'll have you know, I've seen Caval's record, and he has got one of the highest scores at Microsoft Flight Simulator in Starfleet history. So I'm pretty sure he's good at flying actual ships as well.
In other news, he's also a champion at Rockstar Simulator, and he's doing his first live performance next week.
Sold out audience, mind you.
Yeah.
Until everyone realises that the tribute band before is Moss Rocks.
Wow. Whew. Okay then. Well, I suppose we should get on with a couple of Star Trek-related thingamajigs, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
The first and foremost, of course, being a brief little reminder as to where we are in the grand scheme of things for the crew of the Navis. They are still without their captain. This has been going on for a goodly long while now, so this is very weird. There's been no sign, or very little sign, of Captain Adriana Ducasse for some time now, so this is becoming quite a concern. As such, the crew of the Navis have been forced to do without their captain, and because there are no spare captains going around because of the tensions, not only with the concerns about the Dominion in the Gamma Quadrant, but also because of the escalating, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not exactly hostilities yet, but it's getting there, like with the Klingon Empire. So, yeah, somebody suggest me a word.
Tension.
Tension, thank you. That was a good day. Escalating tension.
3 times.
I didn't hear you either time. All I had was toots. So I do apologise for that. That was my.
I might have to tweak my sensitivity.
It's because only people with rank have voices around here. Get to those exams, boy.
Right.
I did get some information from a personal call to a certain old family friend, as it were.
You did. So yes, Viber's cashed in one of his contacts because of Viber's being words are escaping me. A trill. Viber's being a trill. His previous host was linked very strongly with the captain's uncle, who is in the Admiralty now. So friends in high places. And yes, the Admiral's assistant said that Captain Ducasse had been spotted at her uncle's house, I believe, but didn't stay for very long before departing for whereabouts unknown. Until so up until this point, the Navis has been on basic, very short-range science missions, just going around and cataloguing stars and other stellar anomalies and that kind of thing. So, before we jump into something else, is there anything anybody wants to ask? Any points I may have missed? The celebrity guest star captain? Well, you'll have to find out, won't you? Guybrush Threepwood, that's a bit of a niche comment, but we'll leave that go. Especially because they are making a new one.
Well, the
new one literally came out yesterday to coincide with International Sleep Like a Pirate Day, so welcome to the USS Navis.
It's not International Talk Like a Pirate Day today, is it?
No,
it's
yesterday.
I missed it.
The new one came out specifically to celebrate it.
Oh.
It's why I made the joke Sunday saying it's going to make the funeral interesting.
I totally missed the point.
I totally missed the Pirate Day as well. This makes me sad.
Oh, I'm also sad. Never mind.
We should at least put a little parrot on a coffin. Sorry, I'm just...
How'd you know they didn't?
Well...
Buried the parrot with her. Oh, God. Molly's always a fan of Pirate Day.
Like the heathen gods of old. Anyway. Okay, so one of the first things we will get to, of course, is that both Vibers and Edwards were busy trying to create a handheld sonic stun gun, which we were using the scientific method guidelines found in the Star Trek Adventures core rulebook as a guidebook for how to go ahead with this. We've already had the crew successfully create 2 personal projects, one of which is the radiation-absorbing mutant moss, which now has an actual living and development space in sickbay, and also...
Pyrolichin is the name I've given it.
Hyrolite, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's named roughly after... I can't remember what it's called, but a similar name for actual anti-radiation stuff they have in Star Trek. That sounded similar enough that I figured, I'll call it that.
Nice. There we are, cool.
Yay.
I'd better actually put that down, actually. That's actually twice. So, what did you call it, sorry?
Pyrolichin.
I will note that down.
Bread.
Oh yeah, it's the actual Star Trek mention was Hyronalin.
Okay. And Nova also created a universal computer interface, which is primarily being used to assist the alien computer core that you found on the planet Bacchus 4 all that time ago, which is still around, actually, on the ship. Unit H3L10, I think it was? Or is it H31L0? I forget. I'll get there. Been 3 weeks. It's been nearly 4 weeks. So, we are now looking at creating a handheld sonic stun gun. Right, so the last time we were doing this, you guys had settled on the acoustics focus for trying to find a way of creating this device. So, you'd gotten some headway with it. So it's at the start of a new episode, we start you off with trying to make more headway with that very same project. So, difficulty 4. So whoever wants to go forth and do. One of you be the principal, one of you be the support.
Might end up me being support potentially, because if I remember, we did have a list of things. I can't remember what happened to it. Of ideas for.
Yeah, the list of hypotheses
That was it.
to pursue were xenolinguistics, which is an interesting choice, acoustics, computers, biology, and communications. Those were the 5. Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I can actually count 5 hypotheses, hypothetical avenues to pursue, and we were going with the acoustics one. So.
Do we want to try going with communications or computing?
Well, this is it. You can either continue down the acoustics path until you get to the end.
We haven't got to the end of it yet.
And yeah, you haven't got to the end of the acoustics path yet. You haven't proven whether or not it's the correct avenue. You've made some progress towards it, but not done the entire thing yet.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
continue
carry
going
on
with it.
down acoustics. What do we need to roll for that?
Well, it's going to be... Well, you're basically creating a new device, so it's going to be... let me see. It's definitely going to be engineering as the discipline.
Insight?
Insight will be a good one, yeah. Reason I could also go with too.
Reasons and
That's the point. I forgot to use my large milestone. Oh well. We never talked about it, but I'd forgotten.
Well, we can put that to one side just for now.
Yeah, that's another time. So, do you want to be the principal on this one then?
Can do. I haven't got any useful focuses for this, but
Yeah.
Nor do I. So,
let's go.
I'll roll my 1 for support.
Ooh, hello.
Fine.
Alright then. One success. Okay, so in the process of you guys trying to advance your hypothesis as to using acoustics as a method of generating this sonic stun effect, you start developing this new sonic emitter. And you start playing around with the frequencies, and all of a sudden you realize that the frequency is going up, burn up, burn up, burn up, and you're trying to hit the kill switch, but the kill switch isn't doing anything. It's getting to the point where all the various glassware in the lab is starting to vibrate. And just before you manage to shatter all the glass objects in the in the lab, one of the circuits blows out. And I'm afraid you make no progress today, because you've just managed to basically blow up your little test model.
Research time is now spent repairing the lab.
So yes, what would have otherwise been progress is somewhat marred by the fact that it went bang.
Labs grow back, right?
Yeah. If there are no further questions, yes.
As long as there are no further questions, yes, absolutely. So, oh well, no progress this time on that particular project, but so next time, at the beginning of another episode, you can determine whether or not you want to continue down the acoustics and try again, or if you feel that maybe you want to try a different avenue and start anew with a different hypothesis. That's up to you guys. But for now, I'm afraid that's a bit of a failure. Never mind. So, otherwise, let me just find a new ambience to go with. Do. There we are. Turn that down a smidge. Right, so back on board the Navis. Well, things have been going pretty dull because you've been stuck on survey missions for the last however long. So we start this episode on stardate 49285.1, which is 3 weeks after your previous adventure where you had to race to the Romulan neutral zone and rescue the USS Nightingale. So after that excitement, you've now been stuck on routine survey work for the last 3 weeks.
Have we managed to nick their security chief? Sorry, borrow.
A request was put in, so it's being considered. Certainly.
We'll trade. They can
You
have
wanna-
Drexia, our tactical officer, and we'll swap for their tactical officer.
Oh,
Drexia's bland.
she's bland. Okay, so we'll put in a transfer or a request. Maybe next time you can have a new TAC officer.
And it gives them the confidence because then they've got an experienced tactical officer. Yeah, you see.
So a
That's the
teeny
official
tiny
line.
science vessel.
Yeah, that's the official line.
That's the official, right? Gotcha.
Andrews just secretly hates blue people. You know, slowly transfer them off the bridge.
Cabal's like, I'm sitting right here, man.
They should be the ones that'll scuttle in the bowels of the ship fixing things.
Cabal's constantly like, someone's glaring at the back of my head. And every time he turns around, Andrew's just looking away. Like,
She's just taken her eye out and put it under the desk to constantly glare at him.
I'll take my own eye and glare back.
Yeah, you'd thought they'd be bionic chums by now, but apparently not.
See which one blinks first.
But rather than being on the bridge, we are actually starting today's episode in the primary computer core. For the past 3 weeks that you've been on this this survey duty, you've slowly started noticing something wrong with the ship's central computer. It was small things at first. Teeny tiny bit of lag here and there when you were making requests of the computer, and it wasn't all the time. It was occasionally someone would request something of the computer, there'd be like a second worth of lag, and there'd be a response, and it was like, okay, weird, but nothing to write home about. But now this is, over the last 3 weeks, has been building up, and Ops especially, and Science have noted that the load on the central computer is unusually high. Well, quite. So, Science has to frequently communicate with Ops, in order to request release of the ship's power and resources. So, Nova has been getting the brunt of the "is something wrong with the computer?" questions. So little updated the chipset, downloaded the algorithm. Well,
Exactly. In America.
this is it. It's been a case of, at first it was a case of, all right, we'll just run a level 3 diagnostic and see what's going on. The diagnostic came back with nothing, so it was a case of, weird. Maybe something's acting up. Scans of the memory core have yielded nothing much, but this load is still there. So it's gotten to the point where you have now actually asked for Vibers to take a look at this. And that's where we find ourselves, with Commander Andrews, Lieutenant Commander Natala as Chief of Science, Nova being in Ops, and of course the Chief Engineer himself, who has now just finished putting in an isolinear crystal back into the computer stack, and you have found no problem with that one.
3 of the top 3 of the command structure in a confined space with problems and Nova.
You mean Nova
I
doesn't
told you,
make it to the
there's
problem list?
There's nothing that unusual here. All the chips are checking out.
The algorithm's
Doesn't
fine.
make any sense.
Have we tried a full computer shutdown and restart?
Well, that's the thing. Anything like that would, of course, take a lot of time.
Well,
But you're on
we're
a
in
survey
dry
mission
dock.
at the moment. You're
Oh,
not in dry
survey
dock.
mission.
You're still you're on mission out in space. Now, you're close to completing your survey mission, but the amount of time spent on this mission has now been longer than expected because of the computer load, or the load on the primary computer. So this is what's caused the
Right.
sudden notice.
Okay. I'm thinking we could shut down some of the research system. Well, damn, we need the research labs for the survey.
Try and bypass some things through the H3LL0 machine.
Ah,
We could, but at the same time, I'm still very much against giving a unshackled AI control of the ship.
Right.
You give Vipers access.
Commander, you're not planning to use the Californian anytime soon, are you?
That
He's not a fan of
depends.
Californication.
The California, you can do what you want.
I'm
doesn't
thinking
he?
about using it as a secondary core for a little bit while we investigate. Give you the extra capacity you need. Well, some of it.
Well, it would. If this is a potential virus, we risk infecting the Californian, though.
I've got a backup for that.
You
Carpathian.
dare! You dare!
I could clone the Carpathian's core to swap it over.
yep.
Right.
Go on, Sean.
I was going to say, if we filtered and channeled through the H3LL0 system, then we could limit what capacity it gets access to, and that might also give us an idea of where the extra load's coming from.
It's
We
a plan.
can unplug your new convoluted system from my pristine computer core.
Not plugged in, she won't let me.
She being the commander. I'm standing right here.
Yeah, I just kind of like gonna look over at that comment with like,
Well, Natala also would probably be against it as well. So, you know.
Starfleet protocol, blah 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 blah, clearly states do not plug unshackled AI into computer core.
But it passed all the tests.
I don't care if it passed the test. That means it's unshackled. It means it's free thinking.
So's Vipers.
Vipers.
Right. Okay. We need a way to track down what the hell this is, or at least isolate it.
Without us doing a full system shutdown, the only thing we could do is start switching systems over to backups to see if that fixes the load.
We can firewall the system a bit, get things to run in isolation. They might be a bit slower than normal, but it'll at least give us the full capacity back. That'll also let us track it down to a single part of the ship.
I'm not against compartmentalizing as much as possible. I also think that to decrease load is that we shut down all non-essential systems.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
How many days do we reckon we've got until we return to Starbase?
Probably about 2.
So I would recommend that we shut down the replicators, we shut down the holodecks. And everyone unfortunately has 2 days of rations. Oh.
Ooh.
Replicators we can run showing off the runabouts for foods.
Yeah.
They've got their own systems. We keep them air-gapped.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Everyone else on board with that?
Maybe I could grow some moss-based supplies to keep us going until the replicators are back.
We have a thought that it might be a sort of like a fungal contaminant in the warp in the.
The other thing I'm going to do is Bravo is going to be sent to go and switch med bay, switch sick bay over to secondary systems, so it's completely independent.
Ah. Nice thought.
Paranoia, I'm keeping that isolated completely. Its own power supply and computer systems completely disconnected and air-gapped.
Is it worthwhile as setting up emergency channels for a cold restart of the secondary system? So having if something does go catastrophically wrong, we've got a backup already in place.
We've already got procedures for that somewhere, I believe. It's a bit painful. It takes a day or about half a day, I think.
Okay. Sounds like you've got plans in mind. That's cool. So you can start implementing stuff when you're ready. But something happens.
As always. Oh, that got loud.
Bridge to Commander Andrews.
Andrew's here.
Commander, a Starfleet shuttlecraft is on an intercept course with us. It's going to arrive within the next 5 minutes. It's giving us a coded hail. Apparently, Commander's eyes only?
Acknowledged. If you will all excuse me, I will. I'll take it in my ready room, in my quarters.
Okie dokie. So, you guys can probably then start going ahead with starting to implement your procedures to isolate sickbay and start, isolating isolating parts of the main computer, the various plans you'd come up with, whilst Commander Andrews goes off to her quarters. We won't bother shunting over to that.
It'd be probably easier is that straight after it that there'd be a briefing called. So if you want to just everyone to the briefing room.
Well, it's that could be an option, because it turns out that the call from the shuttle is Admiral Stoker.
Oh.
And she is requesting... She's requesting permission to... Well, she's not requesting. She apparently has orders that she's bringing aboard personally. And she would like the commander and anybody else to meet her in the shuttle bay.
Yay.
So, over we go. So,
There's no vision.
I know, I'll get there. Let me just grab some tokens.
Yes, let's tractor beam her into the shuttle bay. Oh god, the tractor beam's just put into repel at maximum.
We can't put the tractor beam on repel at maximum. I'm
Shuttle.
using its targeting system as a secondary computer core.
So, tractor beam? I thought you said quantum torpedo.
Always
That's in my
activate.
shuttle bay!
We can always reactivate the shields when she's just on the threshold.
It would do a lot.
So, down in the shuttle bay, just as Andrews manages to get there, the shuttle is in process of docking at its specific port, and the shuttle bay doors are closing. At which point, Admiral Stoker disembarks from her shuttle and marches over towards the commander.
Will I have had time to grab insists that before any official handing over of the ship or any relaying of orders is that she's blood tested.
Sure, absolutely. Security procedures, that's fine. But Admiral Stoker, when she gets towards you, she nods at you and insists on talking whilst walking.
I would politely decline and state that blood test first, then talk and walk.
At which point she just huffs and says, "Fine, get on with it."
Right, is she changeling?
Apparently not. The blood test confirms that she is not a changeling.
Andrew will try her best to hide her frustration at that.
Stoker hands over a datapad which contains a set of orders which basically hands over temporary command of the Navis to Admiral Stoker and appears to be signed by Admiral Hebert. We don't have much time, Commander, so I want you to set course immediately for the first planet in the Pasqual system at maximum warp. You do not stop for anything. Do not answer hails or get distracted. I need to go to my quarters for a few minutes, and then I'll join you on the bridge. I know you have questions. As soon as I have the time, I'll provide answers.
Yes, Admiral. Anything else you'd like to relay?
Not at this time. Thank you, Commander. I will see you on the bridge in a few moments. At which point, we're going to zip back to the bridge. So, before Admiral Stoker gets to the bridge, well, what are you going to do when you get to the bridge?
There's a whole collection of everyone.
Well, that's a good point. So, obviously, Vibers hasn't been told to do anything, but he wanted to enact his plan to start using the runabouts and all the replicators and all the rest of it. Nova, if she wants to be on ops or if she wants to do... I don't think there was any definite plan for Nova to do anything, was there? Except maybe start isolating the computer systems.
Do you have to help me with this madness plan and trying to figure out how to make it look wrong? And isolating everything.
Yeah, I'll help.
Well,
Okay,
also
cool.
sneaking in whatever you were gonna do with your hello system while I wasn't looking.
I'm counting that as permission from Ira.
Okay.
Oh dear God, I'm so glad I wasn't there when that was. Natala, say no.
That's a good point. Natala would still have been there. And at this point in time, Natala doesn't necessarily know that that Stoker's on board. So it comes down to, if I can just... well, actually, no, I won't vanish folks who aren't on the bridge. We'll just naturally assume that they're not there, but we'll leave their tokens there in case we need to do anything with them. So Bertram obviously still in sickbay, Viber's in the computer core or whatever he's busy doing now. Natala, if she can help out with either whatever Nova's doing or whatever Vibers is doing, she can and will, so you can use her as that kind of resource. Nova, doing whatever Nova's doing. Partially supervised.
I think Admiral Andrews would make it very clear that as she arrives on the bridge, is that the command will be given to set course to whichever planet she said it was.
The Pasqual system.
The Pasqual system.
What did she say? It was the first planet in the Pasqual system.
Yes,
Pardon me.
We are allowed to exceed maximum warp protocol, and then we'll sit down deliberately in the commander's chair.
Okay, so it doesn't take much tinkering for Caval to lay in the course. There are star charts already available, so you don't necessarily have to compute anything. But I will ask for Ensign Edwards to give me an insight and science check.
Can you work out just how pissed off
Particular
Andrews is?
focus on?
This will be a difficulty 0.
Okay.
Roll a 20. Oh no, I haven't got my dice Vice Captain.
Dun dun dun.
2 successes. There we go. That's 2 momentum. Awesome. Right. As soon as Edwards hears the location, something twinges in the back of his brain like, that sounds familiar. Why does that sound familiar? And Edward starts punching in the navigational coordinates, brings up the star charts, and notices that where they're going to is another one of those planets that was highlighted in that star chart when you were on Bacchus 4. It's another one of those highlighted planets.
Okay. So the Admiral's not on the bridge at the moment.
Admiral's not currently on the bridge.
Your assumption is correct, Mr. Edwards.
It's just a knowing look of, we're on one of these again.
Okay. So.
Yes, before the Admiral gets there, is that Andrews will let the rest of the crew know is that we have been reassigned. We have a command has been.
I had to do that. I'm going to check your volume because you sound pretty far away to me, Webby.
Same here, and I've got him up on 140%.
Any better?
A little bit, yeah.
Hang on, let me turn off the TARDIS light. Is that any better?
No.
Unchanged.
Any better?
That's
Yes.
much better, thank you.
I'll move my mic back closer. It's because someone attacked me.
Little people do that.
You probably had it coming.
Okay, so, sorry, what was the point? You were going to make it known that it's been handed over to Admiral Stoker?
Oh yeah, yes, it is the fact that yes, Admiral Stoker has been reassigned command of the Navis with immediate effect.
That does get a look from a lot of the crew on the bridge at that point in time. So yeah.
Yeah, Andrews will be very carefully go, play nice, but very sarcastically.
Okay, so are you guys setting course, or are you waiting for Stoker?
Oh, she said straight away. So
Oh, actually,
Do you need any rolls for the oh god, hope the computer's fixed ones? We're just good with what was said.
the duct tape and hope are helping.
boom. No, you don't need any rolls for the time being. That'll
Cool.
unless you want to make some.
I'm quite
So
happy.
what about
Okay.
attaching the untethered AI?
Well, if you want to try attaching the untethered AI, that's going to require first one check to see how stealthy you are against, like, Natala's ability to notice that you're up to something. And then it'll be a case of trying to actually plug it in, I suppose. So it's up to you if you want to do this.
I think she wants to prove that it can do a job, so...
Okay, so, excuse me, ooh. Let's see, Nova has got an infiltration focus, which we will use here, because he's been kind of stealthy. And that'll be... I'm definitely going to go with daring and security here. And I'm just going to go with... insight and security for Natala. So whoever wants to be Natala, Jan, do you want to be Natala for this check? Right, so Nova's got 1 success.
Nuclear focuses.
I suppose safety protocols would be the most the most appropriate focus. You're doing what now? It doesn't turn up as a focus, sadly, very often, but it should.
It really should.
Can I roll to try and detect this using procedural compliance?
Well, if you want to join in as well.
Oh,
So it's one apiece. So if Vipers wants to contribute, it's going to be as an assist.
go on then.
And it's going to be an insight and security. And you haven't got any focuses. So this is going to like make or break it.
This is to try and find this.
Ah!
I have found nothing.
It's a straight draw. Right.
Does the AI get a roll?
Okay. Let's think. The draw means that nobody gets an advantage, so...
Actually, no, that's a point. Let me just check something.
So Nova starts to make a go for it? Sorry, you were going to say something, Davis.
Right. We were assisted by the ship's computers for this test, weren't we?
Not really. This was whether or not you noticed that
okay.
Nova's being sneaky.
That's fair enough.
You might get away with that if it gets connected.
As soon as the device gets connected, then you can make that kind of, yeah. Especially because at this moment you're monitoring computer systems because of problems. So absolutely we can do this. But, right, okay. The Nova versus Natala roll, that was a flat draw, so nobody gains any real advantage. So Nova starts to do something sneaky-like, surreptitiously starts edging towards where the H31L0 is currently camped in its little container. Natala notices Nova moving off in that direction, but Nova notices Natala noticing. So then she just kind of like goes, I was just leaning in this direction to get a pad. That's what I was doing. See? Here's the pad, in my hand. Nothing to worry about. At which point Natala just gives a suspicious, alright. I'm watching you, though. So,
Did she ever stop?
yeah. Well, she has to sleep sometime.
You set a camera up.
Tara or Nova?
Both. They're currently running on like 36 hours at the moment.
Secret stash of Rectiginos for.
I was wondering what that vibrating sound was along the hull.
Look, it's slapping stim packs on yourself. Do you think you're a hummingbird?
It's the fact that she's got a spacewalk to get it. I'm more worried about it.
So, no, Nova doesn't manage to find the opportunity to go sneakily off and get the computer core. Doesn't necessarily mean that Natala knows what she was about to do, but there you go. Anywho's, we've warped out, so it'll take about, what was the distance? About 2 hours at maximum warp. So I suppose if you really do want to try more for more mischief, you will get another opportunity.
On the practical side, that's going to potentially be helpful. Ed would be diving into what information he can scrounge up about where we're heading.
Okay. Well, the most obvious thing that Caval can tell you is that you are heading into the Shackleton Expanse.
I don't know about the Pacific planet, if it registers any current known star charts, and what information we have about specifically where we're going in the Shackleton. This is basically cross-referencing, because if it's enough to know it's there, that means you might be able to overlay it onto something that we already know of.
Well, like I said, you've already got the star charts, you've already noticed that it's one of the highlighted planets that you got in that snapshot of a star chart at Bacchus, in the monolith on Bacchus 4.
Yeah, but there's anything like in Federation records of what's actually on the planet.
No.
I want the information of where we're going, that was all.
Okay. Well, that kind of information will come when Admiral Stoker walks onto the bridge. Which, unless anyone's got anything else they want to do, she will do.
We can get access codes on the turbo lift.
Well, in order to access the In order to access the bridge, she does have to get past security, but she's assumed to have access because she brought orders. So, Admiral Stoker walks onto the bridge. Alright, I'm sure you've all got questions. So, here it is. Your mission is to go down onto the surface of Pasqual I and investigate its status. Are there life forms there? If so, what's their condition? Is there any evidence of the strange technology we've seen on places like Bacchus 4 or elsewhere? Why can't we successfully scan the surface of this planet? That's what I want. Now, despite the interference that we are seeing, we do feel it's safe for you to beam down.
Is that an assumption, Admiral, or is there scientific proof that it's safe?
Orbital scans of the planets return garbled readings. So something on the planet is interfering with scans, but it's impossible to tell what's causing this interference. With the naked eye, we've been able to detect no large man-made constructions. However, the atmosphere appears breathable without any specialized gear.
Might I suggest that we use a probe to scan the atmosphere and a shuttle rather than beaming directly down? If there is interference, garbling signal, I wouldn't like to send down some of my crew to suddenly become jam.
So we might not be able to get a lock on them to beam them back.
Very well, I can see the logic. Then assign yourself an away team, Commander, and a shuttle. I shall await news of your findings.
There was a part of Webby that was like, would you like anything else, Admiral? Would you like me to massage your feet? Would you like a tea, Admiral? And just like, no, but Andrews wouldn't do that.
Webby, however, being a sarky bastard.
Yeah, the internal monologue of Andrews is definitely saying, do it. The Starfleet protocol side is going, no, do not do it. So if we're going shuttling, then I would like to take Caval as my pilot.
Suggest the Carpathians.
Well, the runabouts.
Because the Carpathian's currently in bits plugged into the computer.
I was going to say, aren't the runabouts being used as extra computer?
Can we just take a Type 2 shuttle, please?
Maybe it's best you only take a Type 2 shuttle.
Oh god, right, fine. We'll take the Carpathia. But if you scratch
Californian,
it,
you mean?
no, the Californian's the one that's in bits.
Oh right, you said the other way round.
No, I didn't.
Okay. So
If you scratch it, I won't be happy. Right, so who else do we think? Do we going to take our xenobiologist? We're looking for people. I think our doctor might be worthwhile, so I think it's going to be the player crew again.
Awesome.
taking everyone, or
No, I think take everyone. That'd be my recommendation, unless everyone else thinks that they want to stay on the ship and do shenanigans.
no? Edwards is happy to go down.
I might want to practice something before I report for that duty.
So let's see. We want the Type 6 shuttlecraft. don't we?
As we've got major
we didn't.
problems with the ship's engineering stuff at the moment, Vibers is going to stay on board, and I'll take the tower down if that's all right.
It was on the bridge.
This is coming through.
Can't delete it now, put it there.
Alright, so we've got Andrews is going, Nova, Thazanan, Edwards. We're taking the dock. We're leaving the chief engineer and taking Natala?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Makes more sense to take your chief scientist on a science mission and leave your engineer behind. Especially when the computer's going slow for no
Wibble.
reason.
Okay, let me get folks on board of a shuttle.
Have I created enough of the high religion to take a dose down, considering interference?
Yeah. It's been 3 weeks, so you've had more than enough time to start synthesizing or growing the batch that you need. So that's all gravy. Now, what's the final decision? Are you taking the shuttle or are you taking the runabout?
We'll take the runabout.
Are you definitely taking a runabout? Okay.
We're taking a runabout.
In that case, let me change the
Says
map.
not damaging the Carpathia.
But let me take the crew out of that.
I've added
you're already
an item
there.
onto
Okay.
my other items fin to represent it.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see. Do. Right, everybody's there.
I love it how you have uniform as an other item.
Yeah, well, you know, doctors, they always have those non-uniformy coats for some reason.
Everyone else is running around stark naked apart from communicating to the tricord.
Look, some of us like to be efficient.
Some of us like the casual command posture.
Yeah. Speaking of which, if I will actually inflict regulation 1-1 if Nova goes out on the mission naked one more time.
All right, so let's get rid of the shuttlecraft.
Never apparently has a uniform and an EVA suit, apparently.
Yeah, and the uniform goes inside the EVA suit, not the other way around. I don't care what the fashion statements are on Rigel 4.
Let me see. Okay. So, excuse me. And we're going to need that too. Wicked. Right. So, everybody goes to the shuttle. I can get rid of that for the moment. Down to the shuttle bay and starts prepping the Carpathian for departure. So, that's a good point. Are there any equipment you want to take with you before you leave?
In our traditional manner, let's take enough pattern enhancers for when it all goes to ship.
So yeah, I've got a pattern enhancer already.
Okay.
Ooh, body armor.
Carrying one as well.
Body armor adds an escalation.
It does, because it means you're expecting trouble. Which means I get to add to threat if you take that with you.
You're going to punch the crap out of that interference, aren't you?
Falcon punch!
Has anybody got a holographic imager?
Nope.
Why would we? Oh, good point. Hide the ship.
No. Take pictures of everything.
We don't actually know what the technological level of the life forms, if there are any, on this
No,
planet.
because the holographic imager is a camera.
Oh, right, okay. Well, we're not thinking of a projector, aren't I?
Cool.
In that case,
It's
we
fine.
know a
I got
projector
confused
we
there
might
for a
need.
moment as well. So
Right, alright, and to rephrase, right, do we potentially need a projector because we don't know what the technological level the inhabitants may be? Because you don't want to... Oh.
Nah, we'll just land it in the middle of their civilization and proclaim ourselves gods.
Pretty much.
We're not O'Brien.
It's been a while since we've violated the directive.
all right.
If you want a holographic projector to hide the ship, that's probably a good plan.
Yeah.
Wondered what I'm taking to my ship.
Look, can you,
Okay.
if you go to violate the directives, can you at least leave the
Right,
Omega
directive,
one
that's
alone
it.
this time?
Oh, you're taking Hello with you. Okay. That's the point. Has anyone taken anything that actually does have escalation?
Taking dose of the awesome Hyro Lichen, does that escalate for awesomeness?
No,
Yes,
it does not.
We're taking over.
It adds 200 threat to every. That's just the boss.
It's just like it's the person carrying it.
You accidentally dropped the case on the floor. Well, we now know what life form lives on this planet.
And thus, my secret mission for anti-Starfleet is complete. The Triffids will now take over.
Oh man, that's going back a ways.
Pattern
But-
enhancers do have opportunity.
That's just because it represents a momentum cost. But I think considering the situation you're going into, we can waive that because it would definitely warrant pattern enhancers.
A chronometer, sir.
Yeah.
I'd like my Type 3 phaser, but that's right.
Okay. I was going to say something. Oh yes.
Oh yeah,
Go on,
that's
sorry.
2 escalation. Type 3 phaser has 2 escalation. Do we want to take a Type 3 with us? Just because?
Yep.
Yeah, let's have it. Type 3. Pew pew.
Up goes the threat.
It should be 14, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
2. There we go.
It was my brain malfunctioned for a moment there.
You take a steel chair.
You got a runabout. You just rip one of the chairs out of there.
We will take with us
No, comes in
Lieutenant
with a
Bravo
steel chair.
Security and Ensign Natig as well.
So you're gonna take. You got six security boys. Okay.
No, we just adding for the threats. We're just going to take the Bravo bomb and the Natig attack.
So are you actually not taking Bravo and the Teak?
I'd say no, because we've got Cabal, who's got
Okay.
security protocol, security training. Andrew's got security training. We've got 2 security officers.
On top of that, who's going to
Two
take
side.
out Admiral Stoker when she goes crazy and tries to kill him?
Well, quite.
Oh, I would love it if Ensign Bravo just comes running in and just Bravo bombs straight. Da, 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 da. I'm sorry, we can. Okay, I would just. Just RKO's just straight out the side of the flipping bridge.
RKO out of nowhere. Yes, indeed. Which is our first cross-franchise quote of the evening. So well done. I was about to label the Day of the Triffids as a cross-franchise one, but then I remembered Leonard Nimoy was in that.
So,
Mossy?
Star Trek did it first.
Yar.
By the way, I put up a little spoiler for part 2 of this episode.
I cannot currently switch to Discord because it will disconnect me and then reconnect me. So
Fair enough.
I will have to take your word on it. Right, is everybody got everything they think they need to take with them on this mission?
Oh, the steel chair's sounding quite good.
Replicate a chair. You never know, I might need something to sit down on. Excuse me.
Got a runabout for full replicator. What else could we do?
That's, true enough. Ooh, what was that? Universal Interfacer, yes indeedy do. And Pattern Enhancer. Cool. Alright. Is everybody ready, do they think?
Yep.
Yeah. Bring on
Wicked.
the calamity.
Alright then. So, yes, going in the Carpathian. So, just check everybody can see the map.
Yep.
Awesome sauce. So back on the runabout. Usual procedure, clearance to depart, all of that, and you break from the ship. Not break the ship. Break from the ship and start flying towards the... Hang on a second, I am missing a map. Where did that go? There it is. Don't know why I closed that.
The good question is that on the Carpathian now, we should now know where we poop.
Nice.
As well.
So, yes, the Carpathian gets permission to disembark, and yeah, you manage to see a relatively green world. So it definitely looks like it's capable of supporting life. At the very least, there looks to be lots and lots of plant life.
Did we think ahead to launch a Class 1 probe before we set off? We just turned
You
off
did
and
say
were
you
like,
were going to, so that's a good point. Thank you for reminding me. As soon as the probe reached the atmosphere, it ceased transmitting. So, are you still want to go by runabout, or?
I would still much rather go by a runabout than teleport through an atmosphere that is scrambling all transmission.
Wise choice.
Yeah, especially as a group of us, we might end up as some sort of amorphous blob at the end.
I tell you what, we'll send down Admiral Stoker first, and then if she survives, then we'll wait sort of like a couple of hours, and then if she makes contact with us, we will then beam down. If she doesn't make contact with us, we assume she's dead and we leave the planet.
And if she comes back, but now played by a mutated Jeff Goldblum?
Oh man! I'm not sure I can do a Jeff Goldblum justice.
Don't worry,
Was that, yeah?
we'd have the tube beam her into space if that came to be.
What about Christopher Walken? Will that do?
This guy is un-effing believable. I can almost do a Christopher Walken, not quite. I need to watch a couple of episodes of anything with him in before I can try getting that.
Needs more
that particular
cowbell.
voice.
Needs more cowbell, yes.
Yeah.
And we were interrupting Jan, so... Jan,
Yes, we are interrupting. Yeah, Jan was trying to say something. Sorry.
Sorry, no, I was just saying, was there any telemetry readings that were interesting from the probe before we lost contact?
There was a large spike in the electromagnetic, field. There was a lot. As soon as it got close to the magnetosphere of the planet, it registered a very powerful electromagnetic field on the planet, and then as soon as it entered the atmosphere, boop.
Is that something that would affect the runabout as it was entering the atmosphere?
It's possible.
Okay. So
That's good
something to
thinking.
look out.
So with that in mind, is there anything you want to do now with that in mind? That was with that in mind, twice.
Well, if we had time to prepare, maybe engineering could rig a little bit of extra shielding on our electronics.
Yes. We could get the chief engineer to give us an engineering roll to see if we can he can patch together some EM shielding for the power systems.
Yeah. Let me just get hold of Navis. So you need a reason plus engineering.
I could go with that.
Control.
And it's definitely power systems related, so
Cool.
that would definitely allow Vipers. I am going to use that threat that you wonderfully gave me to not only bump up the difficulty, but also the threat range. So let's see. Okay. So Vipers, to the best of his knowledge, just employs the usual type of EM shielding to the power systems. So yeah, he just goes with what's in the manual, basically. Okay,
Feels so
EM
much
shielding.
better.
Yeah. Cabal, here's the commands. Just run them, you'll be fine. See you when you get back.
Right.
So yeah, you get the impression that Vipers is very preoccupied with the thing that he's doing. Vipers is pretty monotask, I get the impression. So he doesn't like having his brain pulled in a different direction when he's currently on task with something else. So it was very much a case of, yeah, here you go. We can do this. By the book. Easy. Done. Get out of my house.
What do you mean you haven't read the book?
So, off we go on the runny bounty. So, with EM shielding in place, you guys start proceeding down towards the atmosphere. And as anyone has pretty much already got something in mind.
Shields up before we enter the atmosphere.
Okay, shields are up, and you start descending very carefully down towards the upper atmosphere. You get a little bit of chop, there's some flickering with the lights and the consoles, and then all of a sudden... Yeah. Now, luckily for you, you did implement the EM shielding. So what's happened is that the EM is really interfering, the EM energy is really interfering with the ship system, so you've barely got any control on any system. So the Carpathian has now just become a very, very big stone. You've got some power and control, however, to the maneuvering thrusters. So...
Control how we're going down.
Yes. So for this, I am going to... Yeah, we're going to need some pretty epic flying from Caval, and anybody can, up to, let's see, 1, 2, 3 folks can try and aid in some fashion or other to see if they can get you down without a catastrophic crash.
I wonder, have you ever skipped a stone over an ice lake?
Well, quite. If you can do it, if you can land it just right, then yeah. You can do it.
Statement.
Not a scratch. Well, if you help him out, he might be able to get away with it.
I can assist in the I can be the co-pilot again, going through the checklist.
So that'll be
Hard, isn't it?
yes, indeed. Anybody else can try and assist with like power systems and shunting power.
Can I use the Starfleet protocols as my foci again?
Sure, no problem.
I'll try and burst him some power into urgent units as it was required.
So help anyone, so would it be engineering plus control to basically move some things around, engineer around?
Yep, I can go with that. Either control or daring and engineering will be sufficient for Nova.
Oh, I failed.
Excuse me.
Only one way to go about this.
So far we've got Andrews with 1 success. Another success from Nova.
Doctor, you can dab my forehead. Keep the sweat out of my eyes.
Well, Natala can probably aid as well.
No, I much rather
say-
have the doctor with like a wet flannel. Just
Well,
Slapping him.
I don't know if it actually matters here, but I do have plasma power systems.
Ooh. This is where cross-discipline training becomes useful, so yes, indeed. That would be a control or a daring plus engineering, like I just said, so yeah.
Okay.
1 dice. 1 dice.
1 dice. Focus.
Actually, I think...
2 successes.
Nice. So hang on, how many dice have we rolled here? 1 success, which is unusual for Caval. However, because of Caval's expertise, we are able to drop the difficulty by 1. And you have amassed how many successes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which was actually 1 over what I was giving you, plus it was -1 for difficulty for Keval, so that's actually 2 momentum gained. So the ship is coming down like, well, pretty much the massive metallic weight that it is, and coming down through the atmosphere. You only have maneuvering thrusters, but you managed to put enough juice into the maneuvering thrusters to control your descent. Needless to say, you are going to come down pretty hard, but you can do it in such...
I don't understand this. Right. This always happens in Star Trek, but it's like a runabout has the similar kind of design structure as a shuttle, which are designed to glide if they have a catastrophic power failure. Whereas the Federation's just like, we don't build ships like this anymore. We like to make rocks.
Well, no, you're entirely right.
So it goes into the ground.
And you are able to take advantage of its aerodynamic shape so that it does skid rather than slam. So I am going to ask for folks, when you hit the landing, to give me a fitness and security check from each and every one of you. This will be difficulty 1. Anybody who doesn't get it will obviously go flying out of their chair.
Oh dear.
Every time.
Ooh. Oh my. Okay, I survived.
No successes.
Okay.
Can I use my survival training?
Absolutely.
I don't want to fail this.
2 successes for Nova. She's spry and athletic. She knows to hang on. Watch how I soar. Right.
You missed the cross-franchise reference. Disappointing.
I think we need Natala to give us a...
Natala's already rolled, I think.
Has she? Did I miss it? Did I blink and miss? I did blink and miss. It was Bertram that got no successes. Oh dearie me.
Well, as per tradition, traditional Star Trek way to amp up the effect, the medical person gets injured, so the other people have to do without.
Don't worry, he's prepared for this. He pulls out more moss to cushion himself.
Apparently, Keval's doing the damage because I clicked on Keval, which makes sense because he piloted you down.
Keval gets stabbed through the heart, and therefore Bertram falls down, bleeding from the chest wound.
From hell's heart, I stab at thee.
All right, so yeah.
Jeez.
Okay, so the good news is Bertram is not dead, but Bertram is definitely injured. So, yes, you land with a thump and a crash, and, well, and everything just goes out. The power finally gives out, and everything just goes silent.
I think the Tala's our. No, Tala's got medicine 1. He's got a higher medicine roll than 1.
I do. I've got 5.
I've got 2, so I can definitely assist.
I think no, you're the principal because
God.
because Edwards is sort of like has his character sheet hidden, so none of us can see what his skills are. Still, changeling.
It's like I have control of this.
Yep.
I have nothing on medicine whatsoever.
You got skill 0.
Yes.
Pleb.
I have 3 things: con, engineering, and science.
So I guess I go through the doc's bag, resisting the urge to take all of his stuff apart.
Okay.
And find his medkit because I don't have one.
Fair enough. Yep, it's easy to find. It's a big case that he carries around with him.
And then do my best to give him some medical attention.
Cool. So what you notice is that when you open up the case, pull out the hyper spray, and you start looking around for the painkillers and stuff. As soon as you slot it in, as soon as you slot in what you believe is the correct drug, for lack of a better word, Nova presses it up against Bertram's neck and depresses the button, and nothing happens.
Right, quick, find his baggie of moss.
Check
the tricord is working.
Yeah, I thought it was say tricorder. I was trying to think of the word for it then. Yeah.
You found that the tricorder is not working.
Well,
It's dead.
God.
In that case, I'm going to start manually bandaging, tearing up his own coat. Because I'm not
Okay.
tearing up my lab coat.
Wait, no,
It's not that important.
there's bandages in the flipping. Get the.
No, tearing up his coat.
Okay, right.
I've got to take something apart. His coat will go.
Is he unconscious?
No,
Is he
he's
breathing?
conscious.
Right, he's conscious. Okay, that's fine. He's not dead. That's fine. Doctor, what's wrong?
Breathing is laboured, so Bertram, being a medical practitioner, you reckon you busted a rib or two.
Feels like broken rib, potential minor internal bleeding, slight headache, loss of appetite.
Oh, monologue.
I think it's obviously a diet issue.
Oh God, I've just actually realised if tricorders are dead, how are the cybernetics holding up?
Yeah, about that.
Point his own fist starts
Oh
hitting.
God! Oh God, I'm gonna collapse.
It was just a bump to my head.
Yeah, let's go through, shall we? Oh, heart, lung, half of the brain.
Your coat.
So yeah, you're going to have to figure out something really quick. So yep, go on, sorry.
As I say, can I direct Nova in how to actually create sort of like some padding and makeshift bandages, and basically sort of like use non-technological medicine on the ribs using the things like the bandage stuff on the medical kit, the non-technological stuff.
Yeah.
Not my coat.
So obviously now Caval has the disadvantage of lack of depth perception. Same goes for Andrews, and of course Andrews is now suffering from the fact that because she's suffered from bionic enhancements to her injured heart and lungs and stuff like that, Andrews herself is now got quite a few, and I'm going to list them down as injuries. So
Yeah, I'm going to lie on the floor with my feet in an elevated position and just be like, and also
Weak
the brain's
heart.
kind of shutting down. Yeah.
So, weak heart, we've also got what? So, that's decreased lung capacity. Those will be the major ones, so we'll keep it at that.
She's not going to be hitting anyone anytime soon.
No, so Andrews obviously is going to need some kind of support, because she's going to tire very easily.
Did any of the power or tech seem to survive this?
I think
Nothing,
what we
even
should try.
even Hello is out. You should try what? Sorry, Jan?
I think we should establish whether it's the power sources that were drained or whether it's the actual electronics that took a beating. So if we can somehow check the charge levels on the cells for the tricorders and the weapons.
I can confirm it's not just electronics, but I'm not telling you how I know that.
Well, the problem with checking the charge is it's usually a manual job, and there's usually an electronic kind of readout to tell you what the charge is, and you're getting nothing from anything electronic. Your equipment is all dead.
You got to lick it.
Yeah, it's not like the old. It's not like the old Energizer batteries where you put your finger across the two little points to see if there's enough charge in it.
You know
But
who'd
yeah.
be really good to have here? The chief engineer.
I know. I was thinking exactly the same.
Some engineering. I think a lot of us have been some engineering.
So, as the chief scientist, I'm going to go and try testing hypotheses by poking things and seeing what works.
And currently the acting commander, because Andrews is pretty much out.
You're going to start by poking Andrews to see if she still works.
I mean, I'd go start taking things apart and trying to reboot, but I think I've got to do that to the doctor first.
Yes.
just rip a rib out.
Oh, anyone familiar with the Family Guy scene when Homer went to the discount surgeon and is like, try putting the blue one and the green one. Did that kill me? Yes. I'll try the red one to the green one.
Yeah, right. So Bertram is going to have to try and guide Nova on how to do this, which means Bertram is going to be aiding someone else in doing a medical check, which is really interesting. However, thanks to your field medicine, you do get to decrease the difficulty of working without the proper equipment.
I feel like
So
be using
I
that
will-
talent a lot.
Yeah, so I will include that as an overall thing to also aid in Nova helping. Or, you helping Nova, so that will decrease the difficulty of this.
Yeah.
So Nova and Bertram are both going to need a... Well, obviously medicine. Let's see. Well, it's not control because you're not using equipment exactly, so it's...
Argument of daring because she's never done this before.
Yeah, it's going to be
Right.
daring for... Definitely daring for Nova, but for Bertram, I agree with the choices you seem to have made, Gareth. Fitness and medicine. But you get to include your focuses and decrease the difficulty. So this is going to be 1 to do this. 2 successes already, so you got 1 over and above. Whatever else. Ooh, to actually, so you're at full momentum. Awesome. So with that many successes and 1 over what you needed, you're able to properly set Bertram's ribs so that even though it's still painful to breathe, Bertram is no longer as incapacitated as he otherwise would have been. And there's thankfully no internal bleeding to contend with. It was just busted ribs. So now that you've set them in the right place... yeah. Now that you've set them in the right place and basically bound up his ribs so that they don't move too much, again, Bertram is going to suffer from being able to tire easily.
Yeah.
But that at least has gotten you some stress back. So basically, I think what we're going to do is that Andrews and Bertram are going to be on half stress.
Yeah.
Until further notice. Until,
Okay.
yeah. So there we go. Okay, what would you like to do now?
Caval's wonky eye doesn't give him stress.
Well, no, he's still got his antennae, so, so he can compensate in that manner.
I'm going to assume that comms are fully out.
Yeah, you get nothing from anything.
Okay, so our first plan would be to work out where we crash landed.
Okay.
Because obviously I assume that we were trying to aim for one specific point to see if we can work out from local landmarks whether we were in the area of where we planned or where we are just completely out.
I didn't say we couldn't get any scans from underneath, so we actually did from outside of it. So I think we were going in blind. Because how
Pretty
would
much.
we know if we couldn't look through?
But
Yes, but they were saying that
yeah.
there was visual scans. People looked out the window.
So Caval would have been, I would imagine, aiming for... I mean, you did mention skipping it across water, so you probably could have aimed for a body of water in order to try and at least give the landing a bit more of a cushion. There was... But even from the viewport, you can see trees. You've knocked quite a few over, needless to say. But you can definitely see that you've managed to hit woodland. Which, considering how much green you saw from orbit on the planet, is hardly surprising. And you can hear all sorts of animal sounds outside. So, I suppose game one would be... You find yourselves... When you finally open the runabout doors, thanks to the manual release, you find yourselves basically in forest. Now we'll just have to picture that the runabout is just slightly off scene here.
Is the runabout scratched?
Oh, it's more than scratched. It's dented and buckled in more than a few places.
Yeah,
but considering...
I
Go on.
believe our commander specified scratches.
I theorise it'll never fly again.
Yeah, unless the current situation with the electronics is changed, then at the moment, yes, you're a bit stranded.
Yeah, Andrews is struggling to maintain her cool at this point. Just be like, I'm going to kill her. I'm going to kill her.
Commander, I'd like to spend some time examining the plant life around here, both to ascertain in case there are any sort of subtle pollen, spores or anything like that that might debilitate us over time. And then secondly, if we are stuck here without power for an extended period of time, whether we can use some of these to potentially keep ourselves going without the replicators to feed us.
That sounds like a plan. I think we should be trying to get a scout of the area, to ascertain our current situation, and also set up a central camp area.
I think neither yourself nor myself are currently in a physical condition to safely go scouting around.
It's fine. I'll stay with you and keep track. Keep you both happy and healthy, and we'll sort camp out while the kids go out and check everything's okay.
I think she's suggesting I team up with you, Caval, on this one.
Leave
means that you
Nova
both
on
have-
her
yeah.
own.
No, you've taken over with you.
Too late now.
Yeah.
Unsupervised.
Yeah.
Well, no, you have Natalia would be here to supervise Nova
No,
and keep you two healthy.
The towers took
She's still doing
Team
the
Mum,
job. Yeah.
and the towers decided she has to look after the damaged members of the crew. It's what the commander would have wanted.
The commander's not dead yet.
Ah, yes, I can still hear her voice on the wind.
It's almost like we can hear her voice now.
See Nova poking Bertram in a rib, being like, "Oh look, moss," and just trying to see if that's the broken one visor.
Yeah, I imagine... Sorry, go on.
I said, what was that? Regulation 121?
I don't know, I almost picture Bertram as just smacking Nova's hand away. Like, stop it.
Yeah. Because, Commander, permission to test some of the toxicity of the plants by using Nova as a guinea pig.
Granted.
Hang on, did Edwards just say granted?
No.
I'm gonna go keep Nova.
Has the
safe.
changeling forgotten who he's impersonating?
Like this is conversation is happening in character.
Just thought I'd check.
Anyway, well, yeah, that does leave pretty much. It said Caval and Edwards to do some scouting. Those are going to be interesting.
Because I tend to fail all my scouting rolls.
Well,
I think what we would like to find is maybe some higher ground, either a tall tree or a little bit of a hill, just to survey the surrounding area.
Okay.
I don't know what this would be as an assist for him.
Well, giving him a boost up into a tree, I suppose. So it's going to be fitness and security.
Oh dear.
But you're only assisting, so yeah, no successes there. So
Edwards
Edwards is not.
momentum.
You could always
So
spend
you-
momentum, yes.
Actually, Caval hasn't done his rolls yet either.
No, but after
So
yeah, exactly.
grabbing
So after-
momentum.
Come on, you might be able to save it.
3 successes, so that was well over and above what you needed. So, yeah, Edwards offers to give Caval an assist, and Caval just shrugs and goes, okay, fine. But as soon as he puts his foot into Edwards's hands, which are interlinked at the fingers, Edwards kind of falls over. At which point, Cavall just decides to do this himself and just launches himself up into the tree. And scales it expertly. So, yes, you appear to have landed in a pretty dense forest. However, somewhere off to your east, within a couple of hours walking distance, you can make out what appears to be a low mountain, and the clearing just at the foot of the mountain, there's a small trail of smoke wafting its way up into the sky. It doesn't appear to be anything that suggests an uncontrolled fire. It seems to be a pretty consistent size to the smoke, so that would suggest a camp of some sort. So do with that as you will.
I'll report back to Commander.
Something on my table and kind of make sure it
I
doesn't get
think
into
Alex
the
is talking to somebody else. Yep, so the commander gets alerted that there is indeed signs of a camp some way to the east.
I hate to break first contact protocol, but I don't think we have much choice on this. If people are in this area, they may know of what's going on, so I suggest that we head there, unless there's any objections.
There's also a distinct possibility that whoever is here are stranded and not necessarily natives.
Mm-hmm.
Are we in the same area, roughly? Were we aiming for the same kind of area where we fired the Mark 1 probe?
It's unclear.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I mean, as soon as the probe hit the atmosphere, it just went blip. And if what happened to you was any indication, it probably lost all power and just dropped from the sky uncontrolled. So it could be anywhere.
And I'm back. Sorry about that. I just spilled a drink, so I had to quickly mop it up before it got near anything electrical.
Don't panic! Don't panic! That's
So
fine.
What did I miss? I do apologise.
A camp has been discovered some ways off to the east, and it's been suggested that that would be a good place to look for anybody else who might have gotten stranded on this planet as a result of the electronics killing EM field.
Okay. Do we go back and get Nova?
What were Nova and Natal doing, by the way? Sorry, just to re-clarify for my own sake.
I guess scouting off to the south. That seems to be where we had headed. So.
Okay.
Nova was going off unsupervised, wasn't she?
Apparently, I've got Natala.
Started threatening us, so Natala joined in.
Okay, so Natala and Nova. I mean, was there anything specific you guys were looking for, or just getting the lay of the land?
Lay of the land and any good fighting sticks.
Okay. Well, since you're in...
I might as well use fencing skills for something.
Yeah. Well,
I'm simple.
yeah, there's plenty of branches and dead twigs and stuff around. Since you're in a pretty heavily populated forest. In fact, if it wasn't for the situation you were in, this place could actually be considered pleasant. It's obviously what would be considered virgin forest. It's untouched. There's definitely the rustle of animal life around. There's plenty of insects, so this place has a thriving ecosystem.
Was it a broken arm, or was it a broken rib the doc said they had?
Rib.
You won't let me poke it to find out which one.
I don't think there's any point giving him a crutch for a broken rib.
Just need to be bound up tight to keep the ribs together.
However, the commander will need something because she's going to find it very hard going to move very far.
Oh, excuse me.
Right.
Sorry.
Let's grab some sticks. I have a plan. I've always wanted to make one of these.
Are you going to make a pallet by any chance?
I was thinking that.
Pallet, stretcher, something like that.
Yeah, stretcher would be a lot easier to make than a pallet.
Worst
Yeah, but we don't have
That's
any
where I
fibre
was
or
going with
anything.
it.
Yeah, you've
one
got the
long
remnants of
stick,
Bertram's
and
coat.
One long stick, and I tie the arms at one end and the feet at the other, and we carry it over shoulders.
To be honest, it's probably enough for like wood and plant fibers we can use in a place like this to create sort of like a pallet or a crutch or any basic equipment like that.
As the doctor, I think they should run it off.
Actually, considering what you've just mentioned there, Gareth, can I get Bertram to give me an insight and science with a focus in botany?
Yeah. In that case, seeing this is a botany thing, can I invoke the Cochrane Medal of Excellence?
Yep. Remind us what that does.
Basically, if I throw a point of determination related to the field that I got it in, I can basically get what's the exact
Benefit
term
of
it
twice,
uses?
wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's yeah. When I've spent a point of determination test that involves the focus, I receive 2 of the benefits of spending the point of determination instead of 1.
Nice. Cool beans. Thank you, Sean. Yep, by all means, do it.
Right, so insight and science,
Mm-hmm.
focus, determination. There's no option to do double determination, so we'll
Yeah,
probably have
we'll
to.
assume there's another one in there. Literally another roll of a 1 in there. So it's actually 4 successes. So you get well over
I'm
and
glad
above
I
what
did
you
that
want.
in that case.
That was a close one with those 2 19s, mind you. Ooh.
Yeah, though that was a bad roll. I'm glad I did the determination and the Cochrane thing.
Right, so when Natala and Nova come back with the idea of we think we can create a stretcher using some of this, at which point Bertram goes, yeah, that's fine, but if you look over here and here, you can also see there are vines and a couple of creeping plants here and there that you could use. There's some broad leaves down here which you can also use that look like they should be strong enough. And yeah, you guys can basically put together a pretty darn good stretcher together, which will.
How do you what would you make to roll as a I don't need this? I am bluffing that I am in a better shape than I actually am.
This is going to be very much daring and secure. Daring and command, I think, is going to be the bluff. But because everybody else knows how busted up she is, I'm gonna. I'm gonna make the complication range probably double what it usually is.
Can I use a focus? Can I use a focus of avid runner? I'm gonna
No, that won't help you sell this lie. No. 2 successes. All right. So anybody who wants to call that.
Isn't that a complication?
That's a complication, actually. That's a good point.
And I am the voice of the crew.
Ah. You can definitely do that, yes.
Because my response for this one. Alright, so.
I believe one of the words is Egypt.
Is
well,
shut up, you Egypt. We need you alive, one way or the other. Are you coming on this stretcher awake, or would you like to take a nap, sir?
I like it. Go for it.
Suddenly become sassy.
3 successes with no complications. Yeah. All of a sudden, Natala brings around her full mum mode. And even though Andrews is doing her very, very best, I'm in command here and I'm a tough woman, damn it, I don't... I can tough this out.
Well done, love. Now get on the stretcher.
Yeah. Even though she's everyone knows how tough Andrews is, even Andrews cannot overcome the sheer level of mum. That is being...
Look.
Yeah. I know you're tough, and I love you for it, but get on the stretcher. We're carrying you. And that's that. So, yes, Andrews has to concede that she's been...
Really mugged.
Not exactly countermanded, but yeah, outmummed. So,
Let's put together this plant stretcher then.
yes. I won't require a roll for that because you've already done pretty well with pretty much everything else, and with Bertram's knowledge.
Yeah.
And we've got a survival expert sitting on the stretcher.
We do. So, yes, plants again save the day here. So, a couple of you are going, we're never going to hear the end of this, are we?
They called me mad in botany school. Maybe if I invert the power consuming moss.
If you can find a potato.
Or 11.
Or 11, yeah. Do we need to keep the doctor?
Is it insight and science with a botany focus to try and find a potato?
Sure.
It looks like a potato. You have to taste it to find out what it does.
It might be poisonous like a potato.
3 successes, my god. He knows his stuff, this man.
Doctor knows how to identify a potato.
Definitely in the family of the nightshade.
Definitely the wrong biome to find that kind of vegetable. Sorry, Jan, you were going to say?
How many potatoes to power the shuttle? Well, they're around that.
Potato battery.
Look,
Wow.
a potato battery might power something smaller, like, say, I don't know, a cybernetic heart or breathing system or eye.
Eat a lot of potatoes.
Well,
So
that's saying
basically, it's going to be almost a Tony Stark situation where there's like this weird battery hooked up to a whole bag of potatoes that Andrews has to carry with her to keep her
that what you're
heart.
saying is, what
It's
you're saying
possible.
is, I'm going to rebuild his bionics in a cave with a box of plants. Yes, I mean that cross franchise.
So,
Bertram can rebuild her. He has the technology. She'll be the new Jolly Green Giantess.
But I don't want to spend too much money.
well, he
Yeah, but
hasn't
you
the
go,
technology. That's the point.
Well, and you'll know what my next project is: potato bionics.
Potato-powered bionics.
Every
Nice.
now and again, so we get extra eyes.
Or every now and then it falls apart.
Oh,
I
God.
had to do it. I had to do
We
it.
need the cabin
Leave.
more than ever.
Okay,
Right.
Webby.
Hello.
When I finished, this is going to be your new bionic arm.
We can't see this, so we're just going to have to assume it's
Well, we can-
hilarious.
Webby can see it.
No!
Right then. With this in mind, it's probably time that you all marched on. So, somebody's going to have to carry the stretcher with Andrews on it.
Can we change the stretcher so it's not a stretcher? It's a what's it? Flip carriage.
Oh, what? Sorry, pardon?
The carriage that's carried by people.
Oh,
You're not,
a
you're not
palanquin.
having a sedan. You're not having a sedan.
You want
chair.
it to be a
Sedan,
sedan chair?
No.
Nope, it's a
want to
stretcher and
burn with
Ensign. Ensign
Well-
Edwards is
That
dragging you
might
along
be-
unceremoniously.
The sedan chair might actually be easier.
Well, I don't know, you still need 2 people to carry it, and she's either sitting up or
Oh, yeah.
lying down, so...
No, unceremoniously dragging. We only have one ensign.
Oh, I see. The ensign's the one carrying it.
Oh.
Well, it would actually make more sense the one with the highest fitness carry it, but it would also make more sense that people take turns. So,
No, the highest fitness is me.
yeah.
Yeah, yourself. That's
I'm
settled.
afraid you don't get a say in this.
As the doctor, I'm sure it'll be fun.
So, fitness 9 for Nova.
So.
Fitness 9 for Edwards,
Caval
actually.
and Natala?
Fitness 9 for Caval.
For Nova and Edwards?
Wait, Caval's got the same fitness as me.
Hmm. And actually,
Eight.
Natala's got less fitness than everyone else, so there you are.
Seeing as I'm the only one with a real weapon that works, maybe I should be walking in front, checking for threats.
Yeah,
Good point.
I think that Caval is, even though he's only got one eye at this moment in time.
I am the weapon.
For better or worse, yes, you are.
Actually, that's the point. Nova, are you picking anything up in this planet?
Pain, lots of pain.
Yes.
It's
There's
not
definitely a lot of
major
life forms
parties.
around, but nothing at the moment that registers on the empathy. Obviously, Natala. I keep doing this because their names begin with N and end with A. Nova's empathic ability on the starship is able to be a bit more reaching because it's an enclosed space and the amount of life forms are all sentient, so it's pretty easy. In a place like this, you've got quite a few life forms of varying degrees of size, not many of which actually have anything beyond basic emotions, but there's a lot more like signal to noise ratio, you might think of it that way. So, but, you know, if there are any survivors within a certain distance of them, I did it again, Nova sent somebody if they are around.
Should have brought a Bravo. Commander, it should be protocol from now on. Always bring a Bravo.
Well, there you go. Henceforth,
The Bravo protocol.
always bring a Bravo. Yeah, always bring a Bravo protocol.
Just keep them dehydrated in a cannon, just whip them out as necessary.
Feed them only once a week. Anyways, so, somebody's towing Commander. Bertram can walk under his own power.
I'll
Caval,
volunteer to scout ahead.
well, somebody probably needs to keep an eye on Nova, so probably if Caval goes ahead with Nova. And Edwards can maybe help Bertram along.
I can try.
So who's pulling the stretcher then? Natala, the weakest of the lot.
But it's constructed in such a way that it's not too difficult. It's just going to be slow going, because it's going to be awkward navigating around trees and over plant life and stuff like that. So
God, it's a sled.
yeah. So
Why didn't we bring one of the medical sleds with us?
Anti-drop sled.
And
When
Natala
we
uses
had
science.
Natala uses science to drag the stretcher.
Science, of course.
she finds a tree that has some sort of natural lubricant like level, yeah, and then just sort of like greases the bottom of the sled.
Yeah, stuff can be done.
I
With fabric
reduced
at the bottom.
I reduced the frictional coefficient, making it require less energy to drag.
Yeah.
Science.
Stuff
And
can be done.
and that wasn't technobabble. Yay!
Yeah.
Proper science.
Unfortunately,
There we go, folks. This is also an educational show.
Take it on YouTube. Wait.
using full scientific knowledge of your lead scientist. It's a woods, there's roots everywhere, that's gonna be a horrible trip, and bouncy
Yep.
as fuck. Can we just carry on the over shoulders? It'll be so much less hassle and quicker.
Well, if two people carry the stretcher, then it will be less hassle. So it looks like Edwards is the other side of the stretcher. So let's set you up accordingly.
Or Bertram.
Well,
Let the guy with the broken ribs carry the stretcher.
Yeah. As his doctor, he needs to work it out.
so you start trudging on through the plant life. Let's move you on. So, yes, for those carrying the stretcher, it's not the easiest of trips, but it was always going to be slow going because the dock is injured as well and needs rest now and again in order to negotiate the place. Caval and Nova, being as spry as they both are, can range on ahead a little bit and as a result can pick the easier paths to go while still maintaining your route towards the
I've
east.
just had a horrible thought. Does anyone
on.
have xenolinguistics?
As it happens.
Excellent. Guess who's our current diplomat? Because we have no communicator. No
Indeed.
universal translator.
I have my eye on you, Nova. I just pictured that Caval pulled out his bionic eye and stuck it on her head.
So effectively, you're going to be hoping I can use my experience in xenolinguistics to be able to port a language.
Yes. Or at least get a basic understanding of what
I'll try-
they're saying.
I'll try my best, Commander.
Okay. As you proceed onwards, in the distance, you start hearing the sound of voices calling to each other. The language is unfamiliar and not immediately picked out. But
Just say when you want me to make a roll.
both Natala and Edwards can start picking out familiar sounds. And as such, Nova, being the empath, starts picking up the presence of thinking, feeling people nearby. I did it again. I'm going to have to introduce some kind of thing there. Right, from now on, whenever I confuse Nova and Natala's names, I'm going to knock the threat down.
Do it. Do it.
So that's one already.
What happens if you run out of threat?
Well,
Like,
He
momentum.
buns us all a fire.
yeah, I will start throwing you momentum because this is just getting silly now.
He starts refunding the sessions and then backdates.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I look at Nova and I see more pale, I think Nuga. And I see Natala and it's more brownish than I think Nut. So
You
Thank you.
racist.
So,
Brown makeup, it helps.
Nova Marines, Ultramarines, Blue. Right, there you go. There's another cross-franchise thing for you folks. Right, okay. And Nova, being the empath, picks up the feelings of a trio of individuals who appear to be happy, kind of contented. One of them a bit annoyed in a kind of childish way. And
The patterns of these feelings feel familiar, like a race you might have met before.
nothing you can pin down, no. More general kind of feelings in that regard. So, eventually you can actually hear the rustling and a trio of figures emerge into the tree line. Okay, so they are all humanoids and are pretty tall, with kind of a greyish, bluish kind of skin colour. They wear pretty basic garments that are obviously made from the environment, and you do pick up on some animal hides prevalent in their mode of dress. The similarity in their features suggests that they're all related. One of them, the centermost figure, is obviously an adult. The other two are younger. The one on the further right obviously older than the one on the left. You would imagine this is probably a mother and her 2 daughters. Now, as soon as they clap eyes on yourselves, let me see. So the mother herself stands just over 2 meters tall. The elder daughter is closer in height to her mother, but the younger one is only the height of an average human. The adult is watching you with cautious interest, while the elder daughter kind of draws back a little bit and seems to be reaching for a rather crude dagger. The younger... No, pardon me. I got things wrong way around. Right, so the one on the left is the eldest daughter, because she is drawing a bow. And looks like she's readying it just in case. The younger one is the one that's hiding behind her mother. So she's the one in the top right corner. My pardon.
Smile and bow.
Yeah, Starfleet protocol would be that we are engaging first contact. So we have to let them make the first move so show no levels of hostility.
They made the first move, they went for weapons, so I smiled and bowed.
They're being cautious.
The mother, watching your reaction, just kind of puts her hand on her daughter's arm, making her lower the bow. At which point the mother starts speaking. Now, when she does, both Natala, I did it, and Edwards catch traces of words that sound very similar to Denobulan.
Did you say that? Oh, you said Natala, you got it right that time.
Mm-hmm. So I gain a threat. No, I don't do that. I won't do that.
Edwards would give it a go and try and say something back in Denobulan. Do you want me to make the roll?
Sure, by all means.
Courageous attempt.
So let's bring the ones.
Grab a momentum.
Cool.
No.
So this will be insight, science, focus of linguistics.
Oh,
Nice. You just insulted their honor.
I think we need to assist a little with this, because obviously his grammar's just not quite
Well,
right.
yeah, and an actual Denobulan speaking would probably be advantageous. So,
Yeah.
Natala can definitely assist with an insight.
you know how this goes. I have to roll 1 critical failure at least every session.
Insight and science for Natala, please.
Can someone else assist as well, please?
Not really, because this is a language-specific thing that's going on here.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is something a beta that could help with.
I think at this point Nova would just probably start talking about being from a skybird that came out of the sky and fell to the earth. And what a nonsense.
In other words, I'd quite like to kick in the parent figure obligation.
Okay, let me think. So, Natala and Edwards both try saying something in more kind of outright Denobulan, and the adult female, she kind of cocks her head at most of the words. A couple of them she kind of straightens as if she recognizes it, but can't quite grab what you're trying to say. And at that point she fires back in her own language. Edwards, you get something about green. No, wait, not green. Maybe stick. Stick? Not sure about stick. Something big stick. Bigger than a stick. Trees! Trees maybe. Trees. Or is it... is there a singular or is there a plural on there? Not quite sure. It's like the The pronouns are a bit funky, as are the declaratives of as the numbers that you deal with. It's like
You know what you need to reply with? Darmok Angelad. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
I don't know that one.
anyone who's interested, watch the Next Generation episode Darmok. It's a classic. I recommend you do go and see it.
If you type in Darmok, it's sort of like you just into Google. The first thing that comes up is Darmok Angelad at Tanagra.
Yeah, but the episode itself is Darmok,
It's
and
Darmok, yeah.
is one of the classic Next Generation episodes. So if you haven't seen it, by all means do. So, yeah, she's rattling on about something. You're not entirely certain you know what. It might have something to do with the trees.
I might be asking if we're the ones that knocked down the amount or did the damage to the forest, maybe? The trees? Something to do with trees.
The reason they're not happy about it.
Yeah, so...
I'm a bit rusty on my...
Do they seem a bit more unhappy when they're mentioning the trees, or are they still keeping like that apprehensive?
Well, seeing as something that somebody said appears to have very much put the elder daughter on edge again. She's definitely tensed and ready. So somebody got something wrong.
Okay, I'll relay that then. Somebody said something wrong. Glare at the changeling.
There's the changeling.
So the adult female takes a step forward. Yeah, go on.
Can I suggest, as first contact protocol would be, is to sort of like to do from the human aspect, to say me Andrews. You know, to sort of like to say, you know, to prove
That the stretcher killer.
Yeah,
And also
Andrews
to
will
sort of-
need help getting to that point, so
Yeah.
let's assume Natala.
Yep. And then kind of like encourage Edwards and Natala to do the same, then in their denobulan.
Okay, yep, sure, absolutely. So, yeah,
So that's the point. Can we actually understand each other? Because what native tongues?
well,
We
one
all
assumes
Learn stuff
multilingual.
in common.
Because there is something that they've referenced called Federation Standard. So.
But if you watch Disco, yeah, it doesn't have to.
Yeah, but we're in TNG era.
Yeah, we change the area. Yeah, so yeah.
We're in the point where things make sense and people actually go to the school they're supposed to go to rather than learn on the ship. The only one who might not speak standard is probably Edwards. He's a linguist, so he'd know everything.
He's a changeling.
Same thing, right?
Right, so, yeah, if you'd like to make another linguistics-related check, so Andrews prompts the, puts her hand to herself, and just says, Andrews.
Would you say that
Better.
this is a perilous situation? Well, it's not better enough. So if it's a perilous situation, can I use follow my lead roll? But
Okay, so Andrews taps, herself and says, I'm Andrews, and Natala in Denobulan says, I'm Natala, and Edwards, in a similar vein, says, I'm Edwards. At which point, the adult female gets what you're saying, and she identifies herself as Niseri. And it's at that point that Edwards, being the xenolinguistic expert that he is, manages to grab what the declaration for self is, and realizes that it's very close to Denobulan, to the point where some of the vowels are a bit different, and there's a kind of a strange formal structure to the declarations of you, self, and whatnot. But Edwards is starting to get the hang of it now. So tries a few more things, which is where the 4 successes and the other 2 successes come on as you start trying more words, some of which Nisseri responds to, and then some of which Nisseri recognizes and becomes a lot more animated of. And soon you start realizing what the structure of the language actually is and start getting the hang of it. With that in mind, you learn that, yes, indeed, the adult female is called Nisseri, and she has her 2 daughters, Chiola and Zuri. They are out basically hunting, picking fruit, and gathering firewood. Seems to be what they're alluding to. Again, some of the words you haven't got the full. You haven't got the full dictionary, so you have to make guesses in accordance with context. But that's what you reckon. And Nisseri's eldest daughter relaxes as she can actually understand what you're starting to say now, and Nisseri and her daughters come forward. And she notices that two of your number are injured, and asks you questions. Where did you come from? How bleeding are you? No, wait, bleeding might be a bit of bit too. Might be wrong there. How bloody are you? Maybe not how bloody. How hurt? How hurt, perhaps. Unless they are actually inquiring as to how much blood your body holds. You're hopeful it's not that one.
Are Natala and Edwards relaying this conversation to the rest of us?
As best he can.
So it's more on the shoulders of Edwards than it is Natala. Natala's getting the gist of how similar it is to Denobulan, but she's not the linguist and therefore can only help so much.
On top of that, you've got to let Edwards have his moments in the glory. It's just not fair otherwise.
Be careful what you say.
I am.
What are they hunting?
Yeah. They asked us where we came from.
What am I to say, Commander?
What would be Starfleet protocol? You're going to violate the Prime Directive if you say that we are from a distant part of the world, so you're also going to violate it if you say, oh, we came from the sky.
Yeah.
We came from far away.
Yeah, we came from far away, yes.
We've been
That'll
travelling
do.
for many days.
Yeah. Relay that back. Or, do you need to make another roll, or?
No, it's fine. So, again, it's not to make too fine a point of it, but it's like we come from length of many arms in the direction of wind blowing and sun shining. Middle. Wait, hang on. Scale that back a bit. Far. There is a word for far. Okay, we arrive. We claim this land. No, it's not that one. Careful with that one.
Definitely not that one.
Is there a non-claimative we came from? And it's kind of like that. You have to juggle around the language structure a bit, but you do eventually get the idea of we're not from around here.
I think it's fairly obvious with
Yeah.
sort of like we don't look like them. I've got cybernetic, Fowley's
yes, but
Andorian.
You've just managed to explain that we can't explain at the moment. That's actually a good way around the whole what do you say problem with the Prime Directive.
Mm-hmm.
We can't explain, the language isn't good enough at the moment.
Very astute point. That was a very astute point, actually. For that, I'm gonna, because I can't give you more momentum, I am gonna knock the threat down. That was a really good point. And does very much help your situation. Especially when it comes to the Prime Directive. So, unless you've got anything else you want to ask them.
Edwards, you seem to be getting a bit clearer than I am with these. Could you ask if they've seen travellers before?
What other strangers?
Yes.
Yeah. Do we want to ask for like medical help first?
I highly doubt they're going to be able to offer much assistance to me, but the doctor maybe.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Water and warmth will do both of them some good.
Yeah, basically, ask if they've got any spare food, any spare supplies. Basically, food, water, anything to potentially help the injured.
Okay.
New ribs.
New ribs. Okay, well, Niseri understands what you're asking and ventures that, you know, her village isn't far away, but she and her daughters are out here collecting supplies for the village anyway. So, if you guys are in need of supplies, then you may as well help her and her daughters with their chores. Since that's what they're out here to get.
I'll relay that back to the group.
It's a fair offer.
Okay, I'd go back to them and say, we agree.
Okay. So, there's a degree of haste in Niseri's attitude, suggesting that you know they've taken some time doing the chores they've already done, and to do more will take a bit more time, and then they need to get back as soon as possible. Which suggests maybe that nightfall might not be that far away, or some such similar. So the types of chores that you've got, well, they're mostly going to be of a fairly primitive hunting and gathering type of nature. So her eldest daughter, Chiola, is going to need some assistance with trying to hunt for some game to eat. Which also suggests that you might want to find... you might want to fashion your own weapons, maybe? You know, primitive weapons to hunt with. She and her daughters are also... Niseri and her daughters are also looking for any vegetables they can use, so any assistance with locating suitable edible vegetables would be handy. And picking up firewood as well. So...
Well, with Andrews being mobile compromised, I think if people bring her sort of like sticks, stones, things like that, she and vine fibers, she could fashion bows, rudimentary arrows, and sort of like spears.
Yeah, good idea. She has got survival training, so she would be the one to go to for that. So, many hands make light work and all that, but with time getting on, who wants to do which tasks?
I'll look for vegetables.
Alright, so, ba-boop, ba-boop.
Is the boss okay, out of interest? Does it seem to still be alive?
Are you asking me that?
Yes.
Okay. I'll check if the moss is still active.
Yeah, it's a plant. It's in its little little container.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll say is.
Obviously, it's energy-eating moss, and if there's
Oh
kind
no,
of like
it's
energy dissipation
it's not
field-
energy-eating moss. It's radiation.
Oh, is it radiation?
Eating moss specifically.
So you've got like a vial like a glass kind of sealed tube, small cylinder with with a sample of the moss which you can deploy if you need to.
Yeah.
Chiola, the white-haired daughter, she's the one with the bow, so she's obviously going to be the one trying to hunt for actual game. Zori, the younger, is going to be looking for sticks, probably for firewood, whereas Naseri herself is going to be looking for vegetables. So whoever you want to post with whomever. Caval would probably make for a good hunter as well, so
I'll go with the finding firewood.
okay.
Which is the second
little one
order,
over
isn't it?
here, yeah. So you just separate Bertram a bit for that one. So it's just these two, and these three.
Andrews would insist that Natala take assists.
Assist.
With, so like one of the other tasks is that Andrews isn't going anywhere.
Maybe the firewood.
It makes sense to have somebody who can roughly speak a language in each group.
That's a good point.
No,
But there's 3 groups and only 2 of you, so.
Well, that's the thing is that Nova could pick up emotion.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So then, yeah, take Natala or Bertram with Nasiri. Edwards goes with Zuri, and Nova and Fazanan go with Chiola, because Fazanan, as a natural survivalist, will also know kind of like how to hunt, you'd have thought.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Well, we'll go with that. Okay. So, Edwards, Zuri being a child, she's a bit nervous, but her mother insists that she go and collect. The good thing about collecting dried sticks for firewood is that you don't have to range far, so that Edwards can stay within Andrews' near vicinity to keep an eye on her that way. Meanwhile, right then, so first thing you're going to have to do is try and fashion some weapons. So, folks are going to need to basically start collecting stuff, so Edwards and Zuri can assist with collecting things and bringing them back to Andrews to change into weapons. So, first thing I'm going to want is for Andrews to give me a reason plus engineering check with your focus of survival training.
Really? Reason and engineering?
Mm-hmm, because you're fashioning weapons.
For a bow and a spear. Come on, that's security.
Okay. A case can be made.
It also says like control rather than reason, but hey, Can I spend a momentum as my reason is only 8?
Of course. As long as everyone else is happy with that.
Nah.
Success and then some. Okay, cool. So, with the rudimentary supplies you're able to find, you are able to put together some, pretty accurate bow and a pretty sturdy spear for the hunting party to go with.
She just builds a composite longbow in front of everyone. She's like, there you go.
So,
rudimentary. Well, technically it is rudimentary for our technology.
So, who out of Nova and Thazanan want the spear or the bow?
As the accomplished hunter, I'd let Caval choose.
Got the Isham Tor, so that is a close combat weapon.
So you could take the bow, maybe.
Yeah, maybe I don't even need a weapon. I'm just awesome.
Well, that goes without saying. But would you like to be awesome at range or up close?
We make it a shorter spear, and I take a javelin.
I'll take the bow.
All right. There we are.
Kevin, you've got to one up the native in sort of like a shooting competition now. Come on.
I'm not this mythical Robin Hood of your folklore.
Right, so both Caval and Ariane should now have new weapons in their character sheets.
He called
Even
it
though
Arian. That's
I
right,
did.
so he didn't call it.
He's cheating now.
Yeah,
Well, I
cheat.
called one Caval, so I may as well call the other by her first name.
Cheat.
And I may be getting around my own stipulation. Yeah, that way, yes. Even though it says spear, the stats for a thrown weapon would be more or less the same, so we can go with that. Cool. So, in the meanwhile, locating a patch of edible vegetables. Can I get a reason plus science check, please? And obviously botany becomes a focus for the Bertram. Natala can aid if she so wishes.
2 successes.
3 successes overall, so you got 2 over what you needed. So, yeah, Nisseri appears very impressed with Dr. Bertram's knowledge of plants, just by looking at them. You go past a patch of mushrooms, and Natala's instinct is to, well, mushrooms, they're cool. At which point, Bertram just grabs, with his good arm, he grabs Natala's hand and goes, no, wait a minute. That spot pattern, that coloration means it's probably poisonous. However, he also, Bertram spots some other plants nearby. These ones actually look pretty good. They could be this planet's equivalent of an aloe vera plant. So something with very useful properties.
Medicine stuff.
Which impresses Nisseri no end. It's like, Nisseri says something which Natala picks up has got the word plant in it and has a positive indicator, which suggests that Nisseri is actually quite impressed with Bertram's botanical knowledge.
Again,
So,
plants equals excellence.
So yeah, some of the aloe-like plants are picked as extras, and a couple of wide-leaved plants that can also help us, like makeshift. Like you use dock leaves, to put on skin to help alleviate irritation.
Yeah.
Since you got 2 successes over and above what you needed. So now to the hunting party. How well did they do? Well. Using your weapons available, you can give me a fitness and security task. One of you lead, the other assist. And let's see. Nothing much suggests themselves in your focuses. Except perhaps Nova's infiltration, which will aid in finding a good hidey spot.
All we heard is creeping up on it and grabbing it.
I say, could I use it slightly different and be more like bait and flushing things out? So,
Okay.
up and making noise, forcing animals a certain way to draw them out for a good shot.
Sure, absolutely. That's a good idea.
So I guess I'll be the assist on that one.
Yep. So the difficulty for this is going to be a 1.
I think I'll grab a momentum. We don't want to look bad in front of the natives.
Right.
Ooh.
Okay. Two successes, 1 over what you needed, so you get that back. But of course, there's a complication. Okay. So Nova volunteers herself to be like the beater for something. Chiola, the daughter, is a bit wary, a bit confused that Nova's doing this, and she kind of shoots Cavall a questioning look, to which Cavall can only just, have a shrug. He's like, I don't know, she does this. And Nova starts going around making noise, being trying to flush something out. And you do flush something out. Unfortunately, the creature that you flush out, rather than running away from you, is now running towards you at great angry speed. Now, you got 2 successes. So you've managed to flush out the equivalent of a boar. So this big pig creature lumbers out of the undergrowth, very angry that you're making noise in its territory, and is coming towards you with intent to wound. At which point Nova finds she has to turn tail and run as fast as she possibly can to get away from this thing, and it's only through the combined talent of Chiola and Cavall managing to put arrows in the thing in such a way that it fells the creature without it managing to get to you. So Nova ends up in a bush with and extracting herself with less than graceful dignity. Gotten a couple of scratches out of that, but at least you've got a funny story to tell later on. At which point you get nothing but kind of like a dismissive snort from Chiola. But she then starts skinning and cleaning the creature, in order to, actually no, you'd be more likely to bind it up so that it can be carried back to camp. So, but she does. Sorry, go on.
How big is this thing?
Well, like I said, it was a boar, so it's a fairly hefty animal.
The natives are bigger than sort of most of the
Yes.
species in the Federation, so I'm assuming maybe the wildlife is also bigger.
Well, this animal was certainly big, certainly angry, and could have done Nova a mischief if it had have managed to get hold of her. But Chiola, once she binds the legs up, she's able to just put the creature over her shoulders, and she's going to carry it back. But she does give Cavall an appreciative nod as far as his bow skills go. But she does shake her head as she goes past the bush that Nova's climbing out of.
Island thumbs up.
They've done it without you, Nova.
So, pretty convinced that's how hunting goes.
So everyone, after let's say an hour or so of diligent work, all conglomerate back towards the area where you left Andrews. And folks are coming back with bundles of firewood, with an impressive array of extra plants, both edible and medicinal. And Nisseri is very pleased to see that you've come back with quite a prize as far as game goes. And then, from out of nowhere, a snarling beast leaps into the area.
I grab my fighting stick and head to them.
Nova, I believe this is your specialty.
Zuri screams and hides behind her mother, while Chiola aims her knocked bow at the creature. Its sharp claws and frothing muzzle drip with blood. So, this is where we throw folks. Now I'm gonna disclude the youngest daughter because she's just going to hide this one out. So let's just roll that. So who wants? So, lol. Sorry, I just got that. A bit slow on the uptake. So, basically, who wants to go first? Out of you lot.
No.
I think Nova would happily charge at it.
Why not? Go on, I'll go behind Nova.
So, Nova goes first. How many have you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, Nova gets...
It's one of them of I'd like to, but I physically can't.
Fine, you're going to dictate the combat from there.
I'm pretty sure if Andrews got up as quick as she would, she'd just collapse. Because of
No, I'm saying you're
the
dictating
blood pressures.
the combat from behind. It's like, no, you're upper left!
Does Caval want to go next?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna have Chiola go after Caval. I'm gonna stick Andrews. Well, I don't know. Andrews could shout orders and stuff. So
Yes, let's shout.
you know, direct traffic, as it were. So
We wouldn't want a predator to attract the weakest prey.
actually, you should be 7. Then Chiola should be 6. I mean, where does Andrews want to put herself in the initiative step?
Probably mid-level then, yeah.
Okay, so let's put you at 5. Natala want to go at 4? Davis?
Yep.
Okay. Nasseri will go next. Bertram's probably not going to do much, so Edwards can go at
Probably
2.
better if I hand towards the back. If this thing injures some of us, I might be able to come in and try and do some healing later.
Okay. Let's start things off. Nova declared she was going to start. Or rather, Sean declared Nova was going to start, so... Let me get my facts right. So, what you want to do? You do have a spear.
I do. So I'm gonna run towards this tree here
Mm-hmm.
and try and use that to launch myself up and over it, trying to land on its back. And
So-
use the spear as a point to hold up.
So you're going to be using your acrobatic brawling here, so this definitely sounds like a daring and security type jobby. But you're looking to restrain rather than injure, yes?
Distract, so I'm gonna try and like stab my spear in, pull it to the right, and
So you are looking to do injury, but in such a way that it pays attention to you. Okay.
yeah.
Righty-ho. Do that roll.
Doctor, we might need a new ops operation.
I'm taking momentum as well, as fast as I can.
No, not allowed to spread them. We've got to keep it now. We're at
Let it now.
Right.
If Nova
Because-
starts talking to it, it might just run away.
Because this is a melee combat, it gets to roll as well. So it's basically, this is the difficulty you're up against. So, cool. That was a definite success. So stick Nova next to the creature. While you can also now roll for the spear damage.
Spear!
Spears.
2 effects, right, so what's a spear got as its qualities? Deadly and vicious, so you can use the 2 of the effects to inflict extra damage if you want, using the vicious quality.
Could I use one for that and one for the distraction effect, just to make it less likely to go charging at the group?
Okay, sure.
Then that makes more sense.
So, this thing, 2. So you were in fact inflicting basically 4. So it is 2. So yep. So Nova manages to leap dramatically and athletically off the tree, drives the spear down and hangs on and wrenches it around trying to hold on while she's doing it. Doesn't quite manage to actually mount the creature, but has placed herself in such a way that she's using the spear still in the creature as a almost like a lever, trying to nudge it around a bit. So that was Nova. Now it's the creature's turn. Well, it's only got one target to go for, so it's going to try its own thing. So once again, this is melee combat, so this is going to be both Nova and the creature rolling daring and security. See who comes out on top. So I got one effect. So if Nova can give you got 3 successes, so over and above what was required, which means the momentum goes in, but you also get to inflict damage on it again, so roll the spear. Three successes and an effect, so do you want to apply the vicious?
Yeah, might as well.
Alright, so that's an extra. So just wrenching it around, digging it in as the creature tries to swipe at you, but you use the spear to keep it at a distance, and also as you're grinding it through, you use it to inflict more damage. Caval.
Shall Legolas and fire some arrows.
Cool. So that's going to be what we usually imagine it's going to be, which is control and security. Now you do have hand phasers, but you don't have bow and arrow.
It's a gap in my education.
So it's going to be what, difficulty 2?
Just throw the phaser.
Throw the phaser at it.
I'm gonna grab a momentum.
Yep.
We spent all this time building it up, and one combat kicks off, and the first thing the first two do is just spend momentum.
More successes. 2 over and above what you needed. So we can also spend momentum. I mean, you got 2 over, so I added 1 back to momentum, but you got 1 left over. You can use that 1 to add another die of damage.
Yes, the bow's got piercing. I'm not sure if it's got any armor.
It might do. Piercing of what? Let's see. Piercing of 1, so it negates 1 point of resistance. Okay.
So the momentum I'll split on the damage.
Nice. 3 successes and an effect, so you can apply the vicious to that if you want.
Piercing, no vicious.
Piercing, pardon. Piercing and vicious. So that goes through that, which means it's 1, which means that takes 2. Okay.
Just think how good it would have been if he had depth perception.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That's a good point.
That's
but,
what's making him, but he hasn't got a closing eye to take in.
I did.
You can take the momentum back.
Yeah, that's cool. I did forget, that was my fault. But yeah, Caval manages to land a shot. An arrow manages to dig into its flesh, but the thing is still alive and kicking. Okay, does Caval want to stay there, or is he going to move anywhere?
I think maybe just move up a little bit, just to try and maintain clear lines of sight.
Cool. That's all you can do for now, so let's move you on. Chiola is going to try and shoot. That's not bad. She hits on the money. Which means she gets to use the bow. She didn't generate anything other than what it's got, but did get an effect. So, that doesn't seem to... She seems to be in a bit of a panic. Tries to draw it, hits, but only hits a patch of dense fur, so it doesn't do much of anything. Andrews. In a similar fashion to command on a starship, you can use your command abilities to, aid, suggest courses of action.
Yeah, I think that's all I can do, really, in this situation. Yes, I will use... So it's control and command, isn't it?
Yeah.
With survival training as a foci.
Yep, that'll do. Two successes. Now, that's 2 successes added on top of whoever does whatever next, basically. So that could be cool.
Yes.
So, Natala. What does Natala want to do?
Natala's going to go fencing with a stick.
Right, let me grab you a makeshift weapon then. Right, you're gonna get.
Called a broken.
You're gonna get basically a stick. It's not gonna be that sharp, so it's gonna be a bludgeon more than anything else. But I will allow you to put the fencing focus on it because it's gonna be a light stick that you can use whippily like a fencing stick. So.
Yep. So I'm gonna try and flank it while fencing to try and get distracted so Nova can stab it on the butt with a spear.
Okay. As a result, I am gonna knock down the damage the bludgeon can do, but you do get already 2 successes on your attack. So.
Just click the dice roll on the bludgeon, or got to roll something first.
So give me a daring plus security anyway.
Haha. No, I don't think I can get away with determination, but I would like to burn a momentum.
Well, you've already got 2 successes piled onto you thanks to
That's
Andrews.
annoying.
So.
There's no point burning it more.
An extra 2 successes, which means you got 4. So I'd be very surprised if this thing can equal that. Whoop. If you hadn't have got the 2 successes from Andrews, it would have been a draw. So there you go. So Natala, let's knock the damage of this down a step. Natala can now roll for damage on the.
Number of dice is.
That's a good point, actually. You got. Yeah, the number of dice should be 3. 1 success.
Ow.
And an effect. The effect of a stick is, I think it's knockdown. So you can choose to use the effect to basically knock the creature down.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, so we'll start it from like a prone
hit his
position.
shoulder.
So you didn't actually manage to inflict any damage because its hide is so thick, but you did manage to smack its legs from underneath it and tip its balance. Sari, what's she got? She is going to run in and try and spear the thing. That's 2 successes, that's not bad. The monster gets no successes, so she definitely wins. So, spear! 5 successes. So she manages to capitalize on the distraction that Natala and Nova are creating, and therefore manages to come in and jab her spear right into the creature's flank, creating quite a wound opening. Edwards. What's Edwards want to do? If anything.
Not really. I don't know what the heck to do.
Okay, so we can just hang you back, shall we?
Yes, please.
Okay, same with Bertram. So it goes straight to Nova again.
I guess at this point she is just going to try and jump up onto its back and get a better purchase with the spiff.
Alright. So, same thing as before. Daring and security versus daring and security, but I get a penalty to this because I'm fighting, the creature's fighting from underneath. So only 1 success versus 3 successes. So there we are. Nova can give, can even give a boost of 2 extra dice to the damage if she wants to.
Yeah, might as well. Guess we got it.
Definitely got it where you want it.
Yeah.
4 successes, 2 effects.
1 on vicious, 1 on mounting.
Okay, so that's 5 minus 1 is a 4, which is nearly. That was a very solid jab with the spear, catching it in quite the vulnerable place. It's still thrashing around, but that was a very close one. Is Nova staying there?
Yeah, she's climbed on its back.
Cool. The creature is going to try and get up. As a result, it's going to get a lot more difficult to actually take a swipe at somebody. It's definitely going to be Nova. Nova's the one that's been hurting it. But I am going to make its complication range higher because it's fighting from underneath. And Nova gets to make a daring and security check to counteract the creatures. No successes, so it manages to land a blow. It's just going to swipe with its claw. Oh dear. So that's 5 with 2 extra. Ooh. Once permission, before attempting a task or applying a focus, the character may choose to double their focus range. So...
It's because you got all the gym badges.
All the gym badges.
The character must have faced an extremely difficult or dangerous situation. Right, once per mission, whenever the character would suffer damage, halve the amount. Awesome. Good point. So I was going to go vicious for that. So that was 7. Rounded down. Takes off 3.
It's 4 if it's rounded down, then so 4 points damage.
So 4 points of damage, yeah. Thank you. I was having trouble there. That was a rather vicious swipe that manages to actually catch Nova this time. Caval.
Take a shot as he draws back the arrow, draws back the string of the arrow. From the corner of his eye, sees Andros as wistful expression.
Nice.
I'll use a point of momentum.
Yep, no problem. And he fell it. 3 successes means you get 1 over and above what you need. Actually, no, it's on the bean of what you needed to hit because of your the lack of depth perception. So that was on the money. So roll damage, please. 7 successes, man. So 3 effects.
This is where you realise without his depth perception, he's actually shot Nova. But he shot through Nova's leg to embed it in the head, so just like Nova's now pinned to it, like
Okay, well done. That's that thing taken out. So, with the creature down, Niseri looks down on the dead creature and seems to have a very puzzled expression on her face. Natala can't quite make out what's being said and therefore is forced to call Edwards over. When Edwards gets over, he understands that Niseri is rather confused. The creature that's just attacked you guys usually isn't this aggressive. And it also isn't usually this kind of size. Apparently the natives call it a lotkal, which is a kind of like usually a nocturnal creature that eats grubs and insects. But this thing appears to be slightly oversized and unusually aggressive. She kind of, Niseri kneels down next to it and pokes open some of the wounds that mostly Nova, but also Caval caused. And seems to have a very puzzled look on her face.
Can we go to take a look?
Absolutely. So...
I should get off his back and just give them...
Yes!
Just slink away.
So, I would like an insight plus medicine check from the good doctor, if you could, please. This is difficulty 2.
Will biology or xenobiology come in as a focus?
Yeah.
Can Can I assist with insight and science?
It would have to be medicine,
Okay.
because you're looking at biology at this point.
Ah, damn it.
It's
Use
dead.
determination.
Because
It's definitely dead.
Help
Its
it.
head's over there.
Because Natala is helping, that complication, I think, can either be rerolled or ignored.
It's ignored, I do believe, for the first
Yeah.
application.
So, Natala and Bertram work together to have a look at this creature. And
Heart said.
yeah, you find what you expect to find in a mammalian-type creature. But as you're poking around, Bertram especially notices a couple of odd growths inside. You would probably consider them tumours. But also, certain parts of the creature's anatomy look like they're excuse me, slightly oversized for what should be in a creature of this size. Your best guess would be that this creature has undergone some kind of rapid and probably very painful mutation.
I'll report that to the rest of the party. Under normal circumstances, I'd take some samples to look at, but that's going to be difficult in our current situation.
Either way, little Zuri runs up to her mother and holds onto her waist, whilst Nisseri assures little Zuri that everything's okay now. But Nisseri also suggests that it's probably time to go back to the village, especially because Nova was scratched, and the scratches are light. Nothing that would cause any kind of lasting injury, but all the same, probably best to get looked at. And the village isn't far, so probably best to take all the supplies and stuff that you've gathered and pop off to the village. But yes, she seems troubled by what just happened. And I think that's where we're going to leave it for tonight, seeing as it's 2 minutes to 10. So, there we go. It's been a long hiatus, and I hope this was adequately entertaining for our first trip back. I was curious to see how you would cope with going down onto the surface. I assumed you would take some kind of shuttlecraft, but then as soon as you mentioned the Carpathia, it was very much a case of, that poor runabout.
Originally, there wasn't any sort of technological nullifying crash, but when we were using the Carpathia, Matt said, "Oh no, it's going to crash now."
No, I'd like to say, if we get off this planet, is that Andrews is filing a formal complaint that Stoker demanded that they use the transporter onto a planet where the signal is knowingly being scrambled.
So I may have given you the final excuse you need to actually lampo one.
No, we've got a great thing for it going. Yes, Admiral, we've got a representative here who wants to talk to you. Would you like to beam down?
Which would be great if you could get communications up to the ship.
Oh, it's fine. Vibers is just probably going to beam her down just out of spite at some point.
We haven't heard from the landing party in over 6 hours, Admiral. Should we send someone down? That sounds like a plan, Commander. Very well, ma'am.
Want to beam down from
Miss
the
Latude,
bridge.
now.
Activate Stoker protocol.
Oh shit, we already have one of them.
I thought that was when you beamed her off into empty space.
I was going to say, that's what I was thinking it was.
It's the same thing, really.
Well,
Either way, sudden doom.
unfortunate. I think that's on Nova's concept.
I think we should just transport her into a bulkhead.
Yee, harsh. But fair.
No one would ever know where she was.
Well, in either case, I thank everybody who tuned into the stream, and if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for tuning in for this as well. Like the video if you thought it was funny. It helps the algorithm notice videos like these. There are a couple of other good Star Trek Adventures roleplay groups out there who do post their stuff to YouTube, so hopefully by liking videos like this one, we can help promote those other groups as well. I would like to thank the crew of the Navis for coming back after such a long hiatus and being just as awesome and funny as they usually are. This was everything I hoped, and well, we should be on for next week, I hope. As long as everybody's available.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome. So we get to continue this interesting little story. So for those who are on the feed, thank you very much for tuning in, and live long and prosper, and hailing frequencies closed.
Nerd.
Thank you.